Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. This is English Language 1123 workshop. And this is your final exam preparation for IGCSE 2022. I am teacher Suzanne, and this is a continuation of our previous lesson. So in our previous lesson, we have already discussed paper 1, section 1, all right? We have learned all types of directed writing. I hope you still remember. Can you all name me some of the directed writing that we have learned? Formal, formal letter, informal letter, speech writing, report writing, article writing. Okay, so what we're going to do for this session is we're going to focus on section 2, which is your composition part. So this part, it contributes 30 marks, all right? So what you will do is candidates will complete one writing task from a choice of 5 descriptive or argumentative or narrative essay titles. And you have to write a response of 350 to 500 words. And this will also be externally assessed, which means the Cambridge examiners are the one who will mark your paper. Okay? So your duration, as you know, it's 1 hour, 30 minutes for both the sections. You have to manage your time well. And you have to write your answers in separate answer booklet. Okay? So section 2 for composition, please remember this is an essay, all right, which tests on the language and content combined. All right? So you will have 1 descriptive, 2 argumentative and 2 narrative essay. And you have to choose one among the 5 questions that was given. All right? So this is how your section 2 questions will look like. Okay? You have a look at these questions here. The first one, description. Describe 2 of your neighbors who are very different and what your relationship with them is like. Okay? Remember, you are describing the characters of the 2 people as well as their appearance. So what you need to write is already stated in the question itself. It's very specific there. Okay, so this is a sample of descriptive question. Second one, you have 2 questions on argumentative. So the first, the question number 3, we should always obey rules, both inside and outside school. There is never an excuse for breaking them. What is your opinion? Give reasons and examples to support your view. So they're asking for your opinion, and your opinion must be supported with reasons and examples. Second type of argumentative question, which 2 aspects of your culture do you think people in your country should be most proud of? Give reasons and examples to support your view. And then we have narrative. There's 2 questions also. The first one, write a story which includes the sentence, I could see my friend shouting to me, but there was too much noise to hear what my friend was saying. And then the last one, write a story in which someone is accused of doing something wrong, which they did not actually do. So these are the examples of questions that will be coming out for your section 2 of paper 1. So when you see these questions for section 2, what do you need to do? First and foremost, of course, you are encouraged to read all 5 questions. Even though you have already decided in your mind what type of essay you're going to write, you are encouraged to read through all 5 questions. Okay? Why you are required to read all questions is because you have to be smart enough to decide which topic will actually give you the best chance to write an essay of the required length. Okay? You need to know which question you should be able to write really well. Okay, that was your first step. Second step, choose one topic. Decide on the one that you are certain of answering that will increase your chances of getting high marks. Okay, you must be confident of your choice that you have made. All right, and the third one is you must make a plan before you actually start writing. Draft out your points. So that will be much more easier when you actually start writing your essay. Okay, so in this section for your composition part, it's very important for you to have this 4 important criteria of your creative writing. Okay, first and foremost, I'm sure you know, you need to have an introduction paragraph. Okay, the essay must have a good beginning to capture the attention of your readers. Second, you must have the body paragraphs, which is the middle section of the essay, which should convey the main steps in the story or the details of the description or the main points of your argument. And not only that, you also need to be careful about your choice of words. You are encouraged to use transitions to connect the points and paragraphs. So what are transition words again? Transition words, name me some. Okay. Yes, however, furthermore, okay, all these are transition words. So use this kind of words to connect your points and paragraph. And the last one is your conclusion paragraph. So this conclusion paragraph, the reason why you write is to provide the conclusion to an argument, or it may move to the general view after some precise description of the details, or it may provide the climax or round off a story. Okay, so what is assessed in your composition is the first thing, your content. Okay, your composition should be interesting and consistently relevant to the theme, the topic that is given. Okay, so for example, if you have discursive or argumentative essay, it has to be well developed, logical, and based on facts and figures. It has to have real facts. Okay. If you're writing descriptive essay, you must have a well-developed imagery, which is also known as mental picture. Okay, words that you describe certain person or certain place or certain things. Okay, and if you're writing on narrative, the content that they are expecting from you is something that is complex, sophisticated, and may contain devices such as flashback. All these are example or literary devices. Okay. So one is your content. Another, on the other hand, we will also look at the language. Okay, the examiners will look at the variety of sentence structures that you have used. All right. Not only that, they will also look at your tenses if you have used the appropriate tenses. Okay, if you write a narrative story, okay, you are writing about something that already happened, so you have to write in past tense because it already happened. Okay, so third one is wide vocabulary, your choice of word. Okay, you can use bombastic words, okay, power words, a lot more to make your writing more interesting. Fourth one is accurate punctuation, full stop, comma, capitalization. All this plays a very important role in your composition writing. And then spellings, of course, this is a writing paper. Spellings are also very important. Wrong spelling, you will lose points. All right. And the last one is linked paragraph. Your essay writing must have a very smooth flow. All right. It has to be interesting. Okay. So now we are going to look at the types of creative writing that you should know when you are answering for your composition section. Okay, like I said earlier, we have 3 types of creative writing. The first one is descriptive, second one is argumentative, and third one is narrative. Okay, so we will go through one by one. Let's have a look at descriptive essay first. What is a descriptive essay? Okay, vocabulary is very important in your descriptive essay, and this is because you want your reader to imagine what you are describing. Okay. Nobody just likes to read a description of a person or a place or an object. So with appropriate vocab, you have to make it interesting to read. That is why it's important for you to use good choice of words in your descriptive essay. Okay, so basically descriptive means you are painting a picture with words, you are adding sensory details, and you have to appeal to the readers using their, senses such as sight, hearing, and also touch. Okay, so what kind of words can you use when you're describing people? So have a look at the slide. Okay, when you're describing someone, you have to add the characteristics of the particular person, such as tall, well-built, shiny black hair. Okay, So you need to remember that when you're describing a person, you can talk about their appearance, how they look like. Okay, you can describe their height, their age, the way, the build, okay, the face, their eyes, their hair, even the clothing of a person. Okay, and not only that, not just the appearance, but you can also talk about their personal qualities, such as their attributes and hobbies of the person and why she or he inspires you. So this is only when the question asks you to describe about people. Okay, so for example, you can have a look at the example there. Examples of sentences. When he laughed, he revealed a set of horribly discolored teeth. So what are they describing here? What are they describing here? Yes, the teeth, discolored teeth. The second one, everybody stared at her. She had beautiful dark hair, piled high on her head, and a delicately shaped face, large soft eyes, and the most dazzling smile I had ever seen. So this is how you write a descriptive sentence of a person. Okay? Next, when you're describing places, okay? When you're describing places, you must state where and what the place is. Okay, for example, Lulu Island in Abu Dhabi. Okay, you must mention the name of the place. All right? Describe how far the place is from your house. This is just an example. Okay, and how you got there and what do you like about the place. Third one, describe the unique features of the place and what is so good about it. Describe the weather and how you felt. Was it hot or was it cold when you were there? Okay, and would you recommend the place to others? For example, you recommend this place for vacation to other people. If yes, then why? So these are the things that you need to consider when you are describing about a place. So for example, she strolled to the back of the house by herself and she saw the most beautiful backdrop. Trees were everywhere and sunlight was trying its best to penetrate the thick, lush greeny. Right at the very middle of the trees was a small lake. Daniel leaned against the fence and admired the scene before her. This is how you describe the place, the surrounding, okay, the atmosphere. All right. Moving on to the next one, describing things. How do you describe an object? Okay. First and foremost, you must name the thing and what type of gadget or thing that it is. Okay, for example, you're wearing a watch. It's a 24-karat Rolex watch. Mention specifically, okay, how does it look like, the appearance, okay? Remember to be precise in mentioning the color, the shape, the size of the object. Not only that, you can also describe the features of the object. And why is this particular object so special to you? For example, you are wearing the watch. Maybe the watch was given to you as a gift by your parents. So all these kind of details you can include in your descriptive essay. Okay? So how do you work on your word choice? For example, the first thing is you need to be very careful about your adjectives that you're using. Okay? For example, the first one, we had a great time at the circus. We shared a thrilling night at the circus. You see the first one on the top, we had a great time at the circus is very simple. It's something that very common people write. So how do you make it more interesting is you can say we shared a thrilling night. There's an adjective there. Okay. Example number 2, we had a really nice dinner. Simple, very direct. How do you make it more interesting? You can say we enjoyed a tasty meal. You see the difference? All right. So this is how you write your descriptive essay. I'm going to show you another example. Want you to read this. I watched a thunderstorm far out over the sea. It began quietly with nothing visible except tall, dark clouds and a rolling tide. There was just a soft murmur of thunder as I watched the horizon from my balcony. Over the next few minutes, the clouds closed and reflected lightning set the rippling ocean aglow. The thunderheads had covered up the sun, shadowing the vista. It was peaceful for a long time. You see the amount of adjectives there? This is how you describe the thing, the place, the atmosphere, and everything. Okay? Now, vocabulary for describing types of people. I've just attached the sample for you. All these are examples of how you can describe types of people. Okay, bookworm. What is a bookworm? A person who is called as bookworm, what does it mean? Yes, someone who likes to read books. Okay, we have a lot. We have opportunists, and then we have like a scapegoat, perfectionist, all right, imposter, escapist, okay, extrovert, all right, realist, prankster, rebel, okay. All these are the words that you can use to describe the type of people, okay. I'm also going to show you some examples of vocabulary on how you can describe a person's outlook. Outlook means their appearance. Okay, the appearance. So for example, when you want to describe someone's face and height, okay, so you can say pale looking. Okay, maybe the person has a very dull face, so you can say pale looking, freckled cheeks, pimply face, suntan skin. Okay, a fair complexion, a dark complexion, a swallow complexion. All these you can use to describe when you're talking about the face or head. Next, we have nose. How do you describe somebody's nose? You can say long, sharp nose, or you can say hook nose. Okay, you can use all these kind of words. Third one, we have hair. How do you describe about someone's hair? You can say lovely curls, wavy hair, neatly combed, hair in tangled mess, long, soft, and silky hair. Okay, these are some of the examples. When you're talking about someone's voice, a screeching voice, or you can say a loud and dictatorial voice, or you can also say deep and authoritative voice, or you can say dry and caustic. Okay. And when you want to describe somebody's eyes or eyebrows, you can say bright, sparkling eyes. You can say bloodshot eyes, all right, when their eyes are reddish, right? You can use that word. Small and big, beady eyes looking. You can say dull and expressionless eyes. Okay, there's a lot more. Shoulders, how do you describe someone's shoulder? You can say broad, muscular shoulders. We can say narrow and sloppy shoulders, slopping. Okay, so now, how do you actually start writing your descriptive essay? Of course, you must have the 3 parts to it. There's no specific format for your composition. All of it will have either 5 to 6 paragraphs, but there's no title, all right? Nothing else, no closing line, okay? No signature, no full name, no such thing. You only need to have introduction, body paragraph, and then conclusion, okay? So usually when you are writing descriptive essay, you must always start by naming the person or the place or the thing, okay? For a person, maybe you can describe whether he's popular or not. For places, maybe you can describe the location, the popularity of the place. And for things, maybe you can name the brand first and how the people of the, the world, how they adore the thing, okay? Main body, you have to go further on the details. So if you're describing a person, then you have to go much more in detail about their appearance, their characteristics, their qualities, okay? But if you're describing about a place, then you need to go in depth about the wonders of the place, the key features, what are the leisure facilities that they have, okay? The weather also, you can talk about the weather, the atmosphere, the surrounding, okay? And the third one, if you're describing about a thing, an object, okay? You must write about its appearance and how its features and background make it more important. How is it important to you? How valuable is that thing to you? Okay, so that's for your content. And in your conclusion paragraph, you must summarize all that you have described and also recommend in case if it's a place or you want to wish best of luck. Okay, maybe if you're writing about a teacher or a sportsman, you would want to wish them luck. Okay, but if you're writing about an object, then you have to describe why is the object, okay, why is it so dear to you? All right, so this is how it will look like for your descriptive essay. I would say descriptive essay is one of the easiest for you to write actually. Okay, so some tips here that I would like to share with you. For descriptive essay, you can add as many details as possible. All right, use adjectives as much as you can. Make an outline before you actually start writing. Outline means you draft out your points first. Okay, use sensory details. I think I've shared some sensory details that you can talk about. Okay, their appearance, their personal qualities. Okay, prevent over description. Less is sometimes more. Avoid irrelevant details. Okay, not too much, but just what is needed. All right, clear? Descriptive essay, everybody, do you have any question on descriptive? Clear so far? Okay, moving on to argumentative essay. This is the second type of creative writing. This is very important. I want you to pay attention. So argumentative essay is a category of writing in which you either speak in favor of a topic or you go against it. Okay, there's two choices for you. You either support it or you go against it. Okay, it is the opposition or disagreement over something, and you have to use facts and examples to support your point of view. So for example, when you're giving a statement, you must support it with examples and also facts to make it more strong. It has to be a very strong justification. Okay, so what is an argumentative essay? Like I said, you have to talk about both sides of an issue. Okay, usually in the argument, the objection raised in the response to a question. All right, like I said, it's either you're in favor of it or you are against it. Right? So in this writing, in this argumentative writing, how do you actually engage your audience? Your audience are your readers, basically. Okay, how do you engage? How should you be able to connect with them? First, you must use facts. Okay, you have to use facts to support your justification. You can also ask questions to your readers. All right, and not only that, you can also target on the emotions. Okay, and to make it more interesting and fun to read, you can bring in some humor. Right? So the format of argumentative essay, you see, same thing. You have introduction paragraph, you have body paragraph, and you have conclusion paragraph. So in your introduction, what you need to include is, you must have a hook. What is a hook again? What is a hook? Hook is something that you write in a sentence where you grab the attention of your readers. All right? And not only that, you must have some background information in your introduction paragraph. And you have to have thesis statement. All this must be included in your introduction paragraph. Okay, moving on to body paragraph. Body paragraph is the place, the part of the content where you talk about your arguments in favor, whether you support it. And if you don't support, then you have to provide some counter arguments. Okay, conclusion paragraph, again, you have to reinstate the thesis statement and also summarize on whatever that you have discussed in your body paragraph. This is just an overview, guys. It's just an outline. I'm going to go more specific. Introduction, like I said, you must have a hook. Okay, so for a hook, you can either ask a question or you can either state a fact. Okay, and then background information is important. Thesis statement is important. So here's an example for you. The topic is money can't buy you happiness. So you see the sample of introduction here. See the first line, there's a question. This is how you grab your reader's attention. Can you even imagine living without money? Is living without money even possible in this cash-driven and materialistic world? You are asking a question. So when you ask this kind of questions, your readers will visualize, they will start to think. So this is how you hook your readers, you grab their attention. Okay? Second paragraph, money has always been a medium of exchange. For example, in the past, gold and silver were the most common forms of money. You are including some facts there. Okay, therefore, money has become the central focus of many people's life. This is how you include a fact. Third one, But for me, money can't buy you happiness. It can only entertain you temporarily. You're also stating your point of view. This is how you start an introduction paragraph for your argumentative essay. Clear? This is a simple one, something that you can understand easily. Moving on to body paragraph. Body paragraph is where you support evidence. You have to provide supporting evidence to back up the thesis statement of an essay. So you must have 2 to 3 paragraphs where you support the topic that is being discussed, and 1 paragraph for counter argument where you go against the topic that is being discussed. Okay. So when you make claims and support them, you have to provide with examples. Okay. For example, of a paragraph here, the same topic, money can't buy you happiness. So I want you to read this. Money cannot buy you happiness because people work tirelessly every day to make money. Moreover, most people do not have enough time to spend their hard-earned money. The reason being their busy routine and heavy workload. You're stating why actually money not buying why is it not possible for you to buy happiness? Okay, can you see how they have supported it with evidence and facts? Okay, second paragraph. Apart, they have no time and energy for leisure activities, and needlessly to say, their friends and family hardly spend any time with them. As a result, the feeling of loneliness and depression override happiness. In fact, these stressful life events are a major cause of depression according to science. This is a proven fact. So when you attach a fact, it makes your writing more interesting. Okay, it will engage your readers all the way from the starting till the end. Okay, now you have already support this statement. Now, how do you provide counter argument? Have a look at this. You can use words like that, like, transition words, however, from a different perspective. Okay, people say that money can make you happy. For some, earning enough money to pay their monthly expenses and having food on their tables make them happy. Furthermore, being able to buy what you want and going on your dream vacation can buy you peace of mind as well. And Mark Twain also says, the lack of money is the root of all evil. So you see here, they have included a quote for you. Okay, this is a very well-known quote. So when you include quotes like this, you're relating it with something that is engaging your audience. Okay, the last paragraph. So to some extent, money can buy you happiness, but it will be temporary, as no amount of wealth is seen as enough by people. This is an example of counter-argument. Okay, moving on to your conclusion. How do you write your conclusion for argumentative essay? Conclusion, you must restate your thesis statement. You must give a summary of whatever that you have written. And you must not introduce new points here. All your points must already be discussed in the body paragraph itself. In conclusion, you should not discuss about any points. It's just to summarize. Okay? So for example, in short, I have come to the conclusion that money can buy everything, but everything material. It cannot buy happiness. It does not have the power to buy you a loving family or true friends. This is the reason why Benjamin Franklin said, money has never made a man happy, nor will it. This is how you conclude your paragraph for an argumentative essay. Okay, so here's a practice question. Okay, have a look at this question, everyone. The question says, going to university is the best way to get a good job. Do you agree? Give reasons and examples to support your view. And the word limit given is 350 to 500 words. How do you write points when you want to support it? First of all, do you agree or you don't agree? Do you think going to university is the best way to get a good job? Yes? Okay, so you agree. So how do you think you're going to support? What is the benefits of university? Okay, qualifications, skills. Let me show you an example here. If you're going to support this statement, something that you're in favor of. So of course, you can share some of the benefits of the university degree. When you have a university degree, like what Ethan said, you will have the qualification. When you're looking for a job, they will see whether you're qualified. Do you fit in for the job or not? Okay. Second, your skills. You get to enhance your skills. You have the job security. Okay. A job is secured when you graduate. So for example, you can also support it with a fact. The 2016/2017, the HESA survey shows that 81% of people who finish their undergraduate degree 3 years ago are in full or part-time work. This is a proven fact. So when you add facts like this, it shows your argument is strong. Okay, it's valid. On the other hand, if you're against the question, you can say skill is much more important than degree. That means you're saying that university is not important. And you can say the students, once they leave school, they can somehow get into entrepreneurship. Okay, they can do business. For example, who are the dropouts who eventually are successful now? Yes, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs. Yes, Mark Zuckerberg, he's also. So all these are dropouts who are eventually successful even without finishing their degree. Okay, so you can include this kind of facts, okay, or proven facts or evidence. All right. So some tips for argumentative writing. First and foremost, make your thesis crystal clear. You need to know what you're writing about, whether you support or whether you go against it. Second, be convincing. All right. You are now writing, you're actually arguing about two things. Either you support or you don't support. So you must convince your readers. Third, use effective transition. I think I told you earlier. Furthermore, in addition, okay, in my point of view, I agree that or I disagree that. And then last but not least, avoid repetition. If you have already discussed one point in the first paragraph, don't repeat the same thing in the second body paragraph and the third body paragraph. Give different ideas. Okay, these are some tips. So you all are clear about argumentative essay? Clear? All right. Moving on to the third type, we have narrative essay. Narrative essay is a form of writing in which there is a main character. This essay is a little bit interesting because you get to write story, your own story based on your creativity. Okay, so usually it's about a character and this character will face a problem or an event and then deals with it. They will come up with a solution also. So basically, it's you who are writing the story with a proper sequence of events, which is also known as plot. Okay, in simple words, narrative means telling a story. So you can usually the questions is you can relate it with your own personal experience, and it's a story of connected events. So narrative writing, just like how cake, you all know how does a cake look like, right? A cake has some layers. Just like that, narrative writing also has its own parts. First, you must have a plot. Have you all heard of a plot before? You all know what's a plot? Yes. Plot is where is the sequence in which the events happen. You have the beginning, you have the climax, and then you have a lot of other things in between, and then the ending, the happy ending or the sad ending. This is what we call plot. Okay. Second, characters are very important in narrative writing. We'll go one by one later. So characters are people who perform actions and speak dialogues. Okay. Third, the conflict. Conflict means the problem when your main character faces problems. And the last one, setting. It's the location or time in your narrative, in your story. When did it take place and where did it take place? Okay. So let's go more in detail about the plot. Like I said, plot means sequence of events. It's the storyline of your narrative writing. We have different types of plot. For example, tragedy, something very tragic, like an accident, for example. You're writing a story about accident. Okay. How do you make your plot interesting? You have to make your story complicated. You have to complicate things. So when you complicate things, you know, just like how you all like suspense and drama, right? You have to make it complicated. So eventually it grabs your readers' attention. They like when things get complicated. Okay, you can introduce new problems, and then you can also introduce secondary character to create tension. All these will eventually create suspense and drama. Okay, let me show you. A good plot shows how the character gets into a conflict. So basically, your character must get into trouble, and then he or she has to work out for a solution to deal with the problem. Okay, so you see, to summarize, a good plot looks something like this. First, the main character faces a conflict, the problem. Second, things will go right first. Okay, everything gets normal, everything is fine. Suddenly, things will go wrong again. That's when the problem arises. It creates the suspense. And lastly, you have to wrap up how your character deals with the problem. Either the character got successful or the character failed doing something. This is how usually you write a plot. This is a very simple one. Okay, let me show you an example. The good army is about to face the evil army in a disastrous battle. During this battle, the good army prevails and wins the war at last. After the war has ended, the two sides make peace and begin rebuilding the countryside which was ruined by the years-long war. Okay, so you see that first everything is fine, then suddenly something happened in between, and now how did they solve it? Okay, what did they do? They rebuild the countryside, okay, by making peace. This is how your plot will look like. It's just an example. Okay, so now that you know the plot, let's have a look at the conflict. Conflict basically means the character will struggle or the opposition. Okay, we have a few types of conflict, few types of problems. It's either person versus person. Okay, either the main character will fight with the villain. Okay, second, person versus nature. Third, person versus the society, or the person versus the self. That means he fights with himself. Sorry, he fights with himself. Okay, so conflict, this is the part where the story where your main character faces some problem. You can call it suspense or drama. Okay, for example, guys, your character is being accused, okay, which means that your character is being blamed for a crime that he did not commit. Okay, so how is your character going to resolve this? Okay, so this is when your conflict will allow your story to continue. So one tip for you, remember, the better the conflict, the better the story. Remember this, okay? So why is conflict very important in your narrative writing? First and foremost, it creates tension. It also creates suspense. It's also a source of learning for your character development. It engages your reader. It also has a sense of closure when it is resolved. Okay, clear about conflict? Moving on to characters. Characters are one of the most important part of your narrative writing. Who are characters? Like I say, characters are people who perform actions. They speak dialogue. They are the ones who face the conflict. So we have many types of characters, but the main ones are major characters and minor characters. Okay, I'll explain who are the main and who are the minor. So characters are basically what your reader will remember till the end of the story. Okay, it's either the hero or villain that you will remember after you have read a story. I'm sure you all read story, you watch movie, right? You will definitely remember the hero or the villain. Okay, so they play a very important part in your story writing. Okay, so for example, like I said, we have different types of characters. See the first one at the bottom, we have protagonists. Who are they? They are the hero of your story. Okay, the main character of the story and the most important one. On the other hand, we have the antagonists. The antagonists are known as the villain of the story, the bad character. Okay, the opponent of they are usually against the hero. And then the third one is the tertiary characters, all those side characters, the minor ones, okay, that in the story that may be linked or not linked to the story, okay, side characters. So why are characters important? Because it is what your readers will remember till the end, and the characters are the one who will push your plot forward, okay, it makes it more interesting. Okay, Next, we have setting. Setting, like I said, it is where your story happened and when it took place. It is a time and location. So when you're selecting a setting, answer this question. How will it affect my character? You must remember this, okay? When you're setting the character, the place or the timeline of your story, you need to remember how it's going to affect your character. It's important as well, okay? Next, we're going to look into some of the literary devices. You all know what is a flashback? Yes? Flashback is when it takes the reader to the past events. You are thinking about something that already happened, okay? From the present moment to the scene in the past. So for example here, a man is about to give a speech. Suddenly, he remembers playing with pots and frogs in his backyard as a child. He smiles at the memory and then starts to speak about his interesting study on frogs. So you're thinking back, all right? Next, we also have foreshadowing. What is foreshadowing? Anyone? Foreshadowing means you're giving a hint to your readers about what is going to happen next, okay? You are helping your readers to develop expectations on your story, okay? For example, the sentence, I have a bad feeling about this. When you say this, your readers will already know something bad is going to happen, something tragic is going to happen, all right? Such settings such as battlefield. Battlefield means you know that there's a war going to happen. Graveyard, that means someone is either they're going to die, okay? We also have another one called as cliffhangers. Cliffhangers is a component or a part of a story that remains unsolved, okay? I mean resolved, sorry, okay? So you leave the question unanswered, okay? So you see the last line there, at the end of the last episode, the main character is left hanging onto a cliff, okay? That means your story is not complete. And basically it means that there's a continuation. Usually this kind of cliffhangers, it happens in sequels, movies that have sequels, so that it leaves your readers or people who are watching it to just, you know, the story remains unresolved, right? So why are all these literary devices important? Like I said, it creates tension and suspense. It allows your plot to progress. It also allows your readers to connect with the character and the theme of the story. So all these will strengthen your narrative, okay? Now, and a sample question for your narrative writing. Write a story that includes the sentence, it was my fault, so I decided to do something about it. Usually when they ask you this kind of question, you must include this sentence, you must copy the exact sentence in your story, include it in your story writing. So have a look at this. I want you to read this. The devastating month of June arrived, the month when joy and leisure were replaced with trauma and accountability. This was the time that brought about the horrific annual exams, something I ran from even more than a terrible nightmare. However, the circumstances were unusually different this time, at least for me. The reason being my hectic preparation to deal with this challenge. Sarcastically, this strategy was the opposite that an average student would adopt to secure convincing results. The only thing I awaited along with my friends was to practically execute this plan, the plan of acquiring the exam papers before time. Okay? So now this, since it's a narrative writing, of course, you can include your dialogues as well. Why are you so persistent to know when the papers will arrive? My English teacher replied curiously to my question. My confident reply to her inquiry of making her proud this time with my results and forced her to reveal that the exams were already prepared. Moreover, she also confessed that they were securely placed in the principal's office. So can I know why did they use the inverted commas for securely? Why did they use that? That's what? But what's the purpose of the inverted comma? Is it like to emphasize or is it sarcastic? Yeah, it depends on the storyline. But in this one, she's clearly emphasized on the word securely. That means it's safe in the principal's office. So this was something unexpected. And therefore, I assembled with my friends to discuss this astonishing information with them. Nonetheless, we decided to sneak into the principal's office and capture images of the exams. The best time proved to be the home time because everyone, including the school staff, was in a hustle to leave. The attempt of distracting the nearby staff and cautiously entering the room proved to be successful. Now, we had plenty of drawers to analyze and hundreds of papers to check. However, the excitement made it difficult to control our nerves. This was evident with our giggles and joyous expression. So you see how they're carrying the story, okay? They're introducing the problem and how they are actually executing it. So amidst all this, we heard some approaching footsteps. This is when the climax takes place, okay? The problem is arising. That sounded closer and closer with every second. Simultaneously, our excitement turned into terror and trauma. This was what we least wanted or even expected to happen. The principal, furious about leaving her handbag, smashed the door open. Likewise, her immediate expression showed that she was in utter disbelief and shock. The foremost thing she said to us in a furious tone was, "Do not try to explain this to me. The papers on the floor says it all." Okay? The silence in the room prevailed as the principal was busy assembling the senior school staff. We were not rewarded to be issued a penalty of exam cancellation and the denial of the promotion to the next class. It was my fault, so I decided to do something about it. This was because I was the so-called mastermind of this plan, and I urged my friends to follow me. And the last paragraph. In short, I composed a comprehensive email to the school management explaining how my friends were innocent. Moreover, I explained why I should only be penalized but not my friends. The hectic effort and the continual visits to the school office paved way for my success. Due to this, my friends were pardoned on the argument that I enforced them to commit this action. On the other hand, I was left facing depression and deep thoughts about my future. Will the management have any compassion and mercy for me? I asked myself. Probably not, but I kept trying to receive any incentive, but in vain. So you see, this is how you write a very interesting narrative story. Okay, you have the beginning, you have the climax, okay, and then you have the ending. The lesson also is also included. Okay, so we have come to the end of our session. We have learned 3 types of creative writing. Do you have any questions on descriptive writing, narrative writing, argumentative? Any questions? No? Those online, if you have any questions for me, you can put it up in the chat. Okay? So we have covered paper 1 for now. We have done section 1 of paper 1 in the first session, and now we have completed section 2. In our next following sessions, I will proceed with the tips and techniques for your paper 2. All right. So since you have no question, that's all for now. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you.